Have you ever wondered how ancient cultures lived in harmony with the world around them? Indigenous peoples, often overlooked in history, hold a treasure trove of wisdom that resonates deeply in today's chaotic modern world. From their profound respect for nature to their innovative societal systems, indigenous cultures teach us how to live sustainably and spiritually connected. Imagine a world where governance was rooted in balance, trade networks thrived without exploitation, and spirituality fostered a sense of unity between humans, nature, and the divine. In this video, we'll explore how Native American cultures achieved this harmony. You'll discover their advanced societal systems, spiritual practices like the Lakota sun dance, and the resilience of their traditions in the face of colonization. By the end, you'll see how these ancient teachings aren't just relics of the past. They're vital lessons for shaping a more just and sustainable future. Let's dive into the timeless wisdom of indigenous cultures and uncover what we can learn from their legacy. One of the most striking aspects of indigenous cultures is their deep connection to nature. For many Native American tribes, the earth wasn't just a resource to exploit. It was a living, sacred being deserving of respect and care. This worldview stood in stark contrast to the industrialized perspective of dominating nature, a mindset that has led to many of today's environmental crises. Take the Lakota people, for example. Their spiritual practices, like the Wiwangyang Wachipi sun dance, emphasize the interconnectedness of all life. This annual ceremony is a profound expression of gratitude and sacrifice to honor the earth and maintain harmony with the natural world. Similarly, the Hopi people have long practiced sustainable farming techniques, using methods like dry farming and terrace cultivation to work with, rather than against, their arid environment. This relationship with nature wasn't just spiritual, it was practical. Many tribes developed sophisticated ecological knowledge that allowed them to thrive in diverse environments. The Iroquois Confederacy, for instance, practiced the Three Sisters planting method, where corn, beans, and squash were grown together to complement each other's growth. This technique not only maximized agricultural yields, but also preserved soil fertility. Contrast this with modern practices that often prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability. By viewing nature as a partner rather than a commodity, indigenous peoples demonstrated a model of coexistence that feels revolutionary today. Indigenous storytelling also played a crucial role in fostering respect for the environment. Stories often personified natural elements like rivers, mountains, and animals, instilling a sense of reverence from a young age. For example, the Cherokee tale of the water spider teaches the value of resourcefulness and respect for fire, an essential element of survival. Even in the face of colonization, which disrupted their traditional ways of life, many indigenous communities have worked tirelessly to preserve their connection to the earth. Today, native-led movements advocate for protecting sacred lands, combating climate change, and revitalizing traditional ecological practices. So, what can we learn from this? Indigenous cultures remind us that harmony with nature isn't just about survival, it's about thriving. Their practices show that respecting the earth leads to abundance, balance, and a deeper spiritual connection. While harmony with nature is a cornerstone of indigenous wisdom, their societal structures were equally innovative and inspiring. Next, let's explore innovative societies and how native governance systems were ahead of their time. Indigenous societies weren't just harmonious with nature, they were also remarkably innovative in their governance and social organization. Long before modern democracies took shape, Native American tribes demonstrated systems of governance that emphasized balance, collaboration, and collective well-being. One of the most notable examples is the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, also known as the Iroquois Confederacy. Formed by 6 nations, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later, the Tuscarora, it is often referred to as one of the oldest participatory democracies in the world. The Great Law of Peace, their constitution, emphasized unity, peace, and collective decision-making. The Confederacy's council system ensured that decisions were made through consensus, with each nation having equal representation. Leaders, known as sachems, were chosen by clan mothers, who ensured they upheld the community's values and well-being. This emphasis on balance and accountability inspired some aspects of the U.S. Constitution, though the original egalitarian ideals of the Haudenosaunee were often overlooked. Beyond governance, many tribes organized their societies around principles of adaptability and interdependence. The Lakota people, for example, operated in bands, smaller groups that could move and adapt to the changing seasons. These bands worked together during times of need, such as bison hunts, showcasing a flexible yet unified approach to survival. The Hopi people, on the other hand, organized their communities around spirituality and cooperation. Guided by their religious leaders, the Hopi built societies that emphasized harmony with nature and mutual respect. Their kiva ceremonies, held in underground chambers, were spaces for spiritual reflection and community decision-making. Trade and connection were also integral to indigenous societies. Extensive trade networks spanned the Americas, exchanging goods like food, tools, and ceremonial items, but also ideas and cultural practices. For example, the Cahokia Mounds, a major trade hub near present-day St. Louis, illustrates the complexity and scale of these networks. These systems weren't without challenges, but they reveal a common thread. Indigenous societies prioritize the collective over the individual. Whether through democratic councils, spiritual guidance, or trade networks, their communities were built on principles of balance, cooperation, and mutual support. Today, these principles continue to inspire modern movements for social justice, sustainability, and governance reform. By studying the innovative societies of indigenous peoples, we can uncover solutions to some of today's most pressing challenges, from climate action to political polarization. While their societal structures were revolutionary, indigenous cultures also developed profound spiritual practices that shaped their worldview. Next, let's explore spiritual practices and how they emphasized the interconnectedness of life and the divine. At the heart of indigenous cultures lies a profound spirituality, one that views all aspects of life as interconnected and sacred. For Native American tribes, spirituality was not confined to rituals or temples. It was woven into every part of existence, from daily activities to community decision-making. One of the most powerful examples of indigenous spirituality is the Lakota Sun Dance, a sacred ceremony that embodies sacrifice, gratitude, and renewal. Participants dance for days, fasting and enduring physical challenges to honor the earth and strengthen their connection to the divine. This ceremony reflects the Lakota belief in the interdependence of humans, nature, and the spiritual realm. Similarly, the Hopi people's spirituality is deeply tied to their agricultural practices. Hopi ceremonies, such as the Kachina dances, are performed to ensure harmony with nature and bring rain to their arid lands. These rituals are not just acts of worship, but also a way to maintain balance between the community and the environment. A recurring theme in indigenous spiritual practices is the idea of interconnectedness. For many tribes, all living beings, humans, animals, plants, and even rocks, are considered relatives bound by a shared spirit. This worldview is encapsulated in the Lakota phrase, "Mitakuye Oyasin," all my relations, which emphasizes unity and respect for all life forms. Storytelling played a significant role in preserving and passing down spiritual teachings. Many tribes used myths and legends to explain natural phenomena, moral lessons, and the origins of their people. For example, the Cherokee tale of the first fire teaches reverence for fire as both a powerful and life-giving force. These stories not only preserved cultural identity, but also reinforced the values of respect, gratitude, and balance. Despite the devastating impact of colonization, indigenous spiritual practices have shown incredible resilience. Many communities have fought to reclaim their sacred ceremonies, lands, and traditions. Movements like the Standing Rock protests highlight the enduring spiritual connection indigenous peoples have with their ancestral lands, as well as their commitment to protecting them for future generations. Today, indigenous spirituality continues to inspire global movements for environmental conservation, mindfulness, and holistic well-being. Practices like smudging with sage, meditative drumming, and honoring the four directions have found resonance beyond indigenous communities, fostering a greater appreciation for the wisdom of native traditions. Indigenous spiritual practices teach us that the divine is not separate from the world around us. It is present in every tree, river, and breath. By embracing this perspective, we can cultivate a deeper sense of connection, gratitude, and responsibility for the planet and each other. While spirituality grounded indigenous communities in their worldview, their resilience in preserving these traditions speaks to their cultural strength. Next, let's explore cultural resilience and how indigenous peoples have preserved their heritage against all odds. Despite centuries of colonization, forced assimilation, and systemic oppression, Indigenous peoples have demonstrated extraordinary resilience in preserving their cultures, traditions, and identities. This resilience is not just a testament to their strength, but also a source of inspiration for addressing modern challenges. One of the most visible forms of this resilience is the revitalization of indigenous languages. For many Native American tribes, language is the heart of their culture, carrying their history, spirituality, and worldview. Programs like the Wapanak Language Reclamation Project have successfully revived languages that were once considered extinct, ensuring future generations can connect with their heritage. Storytelling has also played a crucial role in preserving indigenous traditions. Through myths, legends, and oral histories, tribes like the Navajo and Apache have kept their cultural knowledge alive, passing it from one generation to the next. These stories not only preserve history, but also reinforce the values of respect, community, and harmony with nature. Another powerful example of cultural resilience is the preservation of sacred ceremonies. Despite being outlawed for decades by colonial governments, many tribes continued to practice rituals like the Lakota Sun Dance or the Hopi Snake Dance in secret. Today, these ceremonies are openly celebrated, symbolizing the enduring spiritual connection Indigenous peoples have with their lands and ancestors. Indigenous art forms such as beadwork, pottery, and weaving also reflect this resilience. These crafts often incorporate traditional patterns and symbols, serving as both a creative expression and a link to the past. Native artists like Jamie Okuma and Virgil Ortiz have gained global recognition for blending traditional techniques with contemporary designs, showcasing the adaptability and vibrancy of Indigenous art. The resilience of Indigenous governance systems is another area of note. Tribes like the Haudenosaunee Confederacy have maintained their democratic councils for centuries, providing a model of leadership rooted in consensus and collaboration. These systems continue to inspire movements for social and environmental justice, proving that traditional knowledge can guide modern solutions. In the face of modern challenges like climate change, Indigenous peoples are at the forefront of conservation efforts. Native-led movements like the Land Back campaign and the protection of the Amazon rainforest highlight their commitment to preserving sacred lands and ecosystems for future generations. Their traditional ecological knowledge, honed over millennia, is increasingly recognized as essential for global sustainability. This resilience is a powerful reminder of the strength found in community, identity, and a deep connection to the earth. Despite immense challenges, Indigenous peoples have not only preserved their cultures, but also shared their wisdom with the world, offering solutions to some of today's most pressing issues. From their harmony with nature to their innovative societies, spiritual practices, and cultural resilience, Indigenous peoples offer invaluable lessons for our modern world. Let's wrap up this journey by reflecting on the timeless wisdom of Indigenous cultures and how we can apply it today. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered the timeless wisdom of Indigenous cultures. From their profound connection to nature and innovative governance systems, to their deeply spiritual practices and extraordinary cultural resilience, Indigenous peoples offer us lessons that are not just historical, they're vital for our future. Their sustainable practices remind us of the importance of living in harmony with the earth. Their innovative societies demonstrate the power of collaboration and collective decision-making. Their spirituality teaches us the value of interconnectedness, and their resilience inspires us to preserve what matters most in the face of adversity. In a world grappling with environmental crises and social divisions, these teachings are more relevant than ever. Indigenous wisdom challenges us to think differently, to see the earth not as a resource to exploit, but as a sacred being to honor, to lead with respect, balance, and humility, and to recognize the shared humanity that binds us all. If this video inspired you or opened your eyes to the depth of Indigenous wisdom, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and share it with others who might find value in these teachings. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to join us on more explorations into the history, spirituality, and ideas that can transform our world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.